The Lunaverse, episode 18 by Rainbow Double Dash, Symphony for Moon and Sun by Grass and Clouds 2. Last chapter, finale. Octavia somehow made her way to the backstage area before lowering her cello, then slumping and exhausted. She run through the whole city of Canterlot, and with no downtime whatsoever, played one of the most demanding cello compositions ever written. Before that, she'd been practicing for 16 hours a day and sleeping roughly on a cold floor. Even excluding the emotional roller coaster she'd been riding, she was about ready to curl up in a real bed for a few days. Octavia! Tommy! Octavia rolled over to see Lyra running towards her. Lyra? She, who usually took pride in her impenetrability, found the strength to run forward and embrace her friend. She loved it! She cried. Did you see? She was crying! I saw! Octavia laughed, pulling Lyra close. Luna was crying! I was able to produce music so beautiful that even an alicorn, she's heard millions of songs, and she couldn't continue. It's all I ever wanted. She managed. It was amazing, Octavia, said Lyra. Fantastic. Octavia wavered a little on her hose, her last burst of energy already failing. I don't even know what to do now. I hadn't dared hope I would make it past this concert. Lyra began to guide Octavia back to her cello so she could pack it up. I knew you'd pull it off. Octavia nodded. You stay behind me, Lyra. If there's anything you need, if I could possibly provide it, don't worry about it, said Lyra. The two of them got the cello and bow packed up. Lyra slung it onto her back. All right, let's get out of here. Octavia nodded. Where are we going? To your home. Lyra smiled. You need to sleep. In a real bed, Tavi. Octavia didn't bother correcting Lyra about her name. Sleep? But I'm too happy to sleep! She laughed, an unusually uncontrolled sound from her. I feel like I could play for Tavi. Lyra smiled. Come on. Even forgetting that piece, and whatever adventure you had on your way here, which you're telling me all about later, by the way. You've been practicing for 16 hours a day for the past 2 weeks. You've been sleeping in a drafty tower. You need a real bed. Her voice was gentle, yet firm. I'm going to lead you home, and you are going to get a good night's sleep. Her voice grew teasing. You just impressed Luna herself. Even you have to concede that you deserve a night off now. Octavia grinned. I suppose so. The cellist let Lyra lead her outside. She is the best friend I could hope for. Seriously, though, you've got to teach me to play that, said Lyra. Did you see their faces? I think everybody there loved it. Greengrass sighed. Well, Notary, looks like I lose this one. Sorry, sir. The nobles were whispering amongst themselves, most in complete astonishment. They had been preparing for a spectacular failure all week, and seemed to be having trouble processing what had just happened. Oh, don't be. If you don't want to see the occasional reversion of fortune, the game isn't for you. He shook his head. Still, I have to admit that it's grating to lose to Luna Moon. Her ally will likely go to work directly for Luna now. And I'm sure that Luna Moon will leak that the last pony who betrayed me got a huge boost, so I'll need to worry about all my other servants. He got his hose briskly. Well, no use whining about it. Come on, Notary. Let's see if we can salvage anything from this. Did you at least enjoy the music? Of course. Didn't you? Remarkable. To be able to perform a song like that is a very rare thing. Greengrass strode out into the hallway. Honestly, if she wasn't a traitor, I might have considered hiring her for my private residence. Wouldn't that require telling her where it was? Yes, good point. He smiled wistfully. But it would almost be worth it. They had reached a quiet hallway, with no ponies around. Greengrass assumed a businesslike look. All right. Octavia is certain to gain from this. That's over and done with, and I can't stop that. He began to pace. Normally, one would expect that I would benefit from my aids in impressing the princess. But because of how diligently I've denied being involved in the concert, that can't happen. I will look incompetent and weak before the court for wasting this opportunity. Preventing that has to be my immediate concern. Notary watched as Greengrass thought for several moments. Eventually Duke said, I need to attain some kind of benefit from this concert, but the courtiers will never believe I was really involved. Not after we went through such trouble to hide how I set it up. He brightened. Wait, if I focus on the courtiers alone. Notary, are any representatives of Limestone Incorporated in town? Limestone Incorporated was the company that tried to move into his fiefdom and drive out his local businesses. The one that Greengrass had more or less toppled after setting up Octavia's concert. 3 of their top managers have Canterline offices. Perfect. Find the weakest one and bribe him. He's to find me and start screaming about how my agent, Octavia, ruined his business in my fiefdom, and he'll have revenge and so forth. Make sure some servants are in town when he does this. They'll tell their friends. Eventually, they'll all think Octavia ruined him for me, and this concert was my gift to her. After that, any servant, clerk, or even guard with a dream will know that, if they work for me, I might be able to make it happen. Greengrass nodded. If any nobles fall for that story, great. If they don't, they'll think I'm lying, but they'll see that I'm benefiting from that lie, because I'll be getting more agents and spies in the court. I'll look strong then. That's a partial win. Sir, Octavia's been at Canterlot for the past 2 weeks. Ponies who know that will know she wasn't in your fiefdom. Yes, hold up practicing. Where no pony could see her, in a perfectly soundproof room. She could have been anywhere. Greengrass smiled, and in fact, I think it would be very foolish to announce that she could play that piece without learning it in advance, don't you? She probably learned it months ago. Then, after she agreed to do a job for me, I graciously set up the concert. I even kept my name out of it, so ponies wouldn't be distracted by thoughts of politics. He nodded. That story will work for the servants and clerk. Notary hesitated. This is going to cost a lot of money. Bribing the manager will be very expensive. Also, any other pony who saw Octavia during the 4 days that you were out of town. I know. Greengrass shrugged. Like I said, this plan failed. But I think I can still gain from this, even if it costs me some money. If ponies think that serving me will get them opportunities like the one Octavia had. The one that was supposed to ruin her, said Notary dryly. Yes, but they don't know that. Then I might have some more servants trying to help me, and not just the idiots who are dissatisfied with their masters, but creative and intelligent ones who just want a bit of help realizing their dreams. Greengrass nodded. I think it will be worth it in the end. Make it happen, and the sooner the better. We need to get this lie out there before the other nobles start spreading their own. Use any of my other allies that you need to, and as much money as you need. He smiled. Chin up, Notary. So we took a drubbing in the first round. The night's not over yet. Let's turn this around, and by morning, I want to be known as the pony to go to if you got a crazy dream or a wild ambition. Yes, sir! The next morning, Fleur embraced Fancy Pants as soon as he returned home. Good morning, dear. Good morning! He smiled broadly, and seeing how happy his wife was. Congratulations on last night's events, by the way. Fleur laughed. She did most of it herself. I couldn't have played that piece. Nonsense! You persuaded her to help Trixie. You helped her realize how she was hurting her friend Lyra. And, if my sources are correct, you robbed the bank for her. He raised an eyebrow, though he clearly wasn't angry. Hey, a mare's got to stay in practice, said Fleur, grinning. That cellar was stolen anyway. I was just bringing it back. Should I be concerned that you were still able to plan and execute a bank robbery in under an hour? Of course not. I only use my talents for good now. She smoothed him. Or did you mean concerned that I'm slipping? I could have broken into that safe deposit box in half an hour a few years ago. I guess I'll have to practice more. Fancy Pants laughed. Ha ha ha! Just be careful, my dear. I always am, as Heavy's minions found out. Ah, yes, they didn't they? Heavy Hitter had managed to get away, but his 3 minions are currently in an interrogation cell. I still think you should have called the guards. Oh, like I needed to fight just one stallion. You taught me better than that. Besides, then whoever hired them could use their influence to get them right back out. These ratables are a little more resistant to that sort of thing. Fleur laughed. A bright tinkling sound. Any news on the political front? Fancy Pants poured 2 glasses of wine with his telekinesis. Well, Octavia pulling off was a big surprise to Gringlas. He's trying to recover, though. Some manager of a business he took over showed up and started screaming at him, blaming Octavia for sabotaging him. He is trying to get the castle servants to think that Octavia did that for him, and he got her a concert as a reward. Sounds desperate, said Flora. Yes, but it might still work. He's liable to have some new minions soon. Any employee of the court with a wild dream will see if he can make it happen. Fancy Pants shook his head. But still, not nearly as good for him as he expected. And Octavia will likely now to tell Luna what he knows of his plans. That's a blow to him. Right. Fleur trotted over to the sofa. We'll get him yet. Yes, we won't let him get away with all the harm he's caused. Fleur nodded. So, anyway, I'm friends with a court musician now. I wonder what else I can help her with. Haven't you helped her enough already? But Fancy Pants was smiling. After Greengrass's clutches, yes. But look at her. She needs to live a little. Spending all day cooped up in that little cello. She's missing out on so much the world has to offer. Fleur brightened. Do you think I could help her go on some early morning runs with me? Aren't those runs over the city rooftops? Fleur nodded, smiling brightly. Might I suggest something small, perhaps inviting her out to coffee first? Oh dear, where's the fun in that? Greengrass smiled a little as he re-entered the castle. He'd been stressed after that concert, but gardening always called him. It was just so incredibly reassuring to see the kind of beauty he could create, the kind of vision he could enact. No pony likes to lose, but you can't play the game if you can't handle setbacks now and then. Little Moon got me this time. A brilliant play on her part, I admit. She's a lot better than I give her credit for. Greengrass said it was his own fault for underestimating her. Hey, Greengrass, there's this wonderful mare over in Getting Back Our Hose called Checker Monarch. Maybe you two could start dating? Wait, that was Blueblood. Good. He needed to take care of this. Blueblood looked quite distressed. Do Greengrass, a moment! Certainly, Prince. Greengrass smiled and let Blueblood take him into a side room. Is something wrong? Yes, look, if it's not too much trouble, if you could help me with an alibi, it's a silly little thing, but you don't want to go to jail for hiring mercenaries to abduct Octavia, of course. Greengrass smiled winningly. Fear not, Viscount. I will protect you. What? Blueblood looked stunned. How did you know? A few sources inside the guard, lied the Duke. It was a fairly safe bet that Octavia had help escaping the thugs. She wouldn't be able to get through those 4 on her own, and the most likely sources of help would be the guards or police. It was probable from there that at least one of the mercenaries had confessed that Blueblood had hired them, so they would appear cooperative. It was thus quite possible that Greengrass had learned of Blueblood's actions through a link in the groups, as opposed to Greengrass's true source, one of Blueblood's servants. Anyway, unless you paid them already. Of course not! Well then, it's the word of a Viscount, one from a noble family line too, against a few hired criminals. As long as you have a solid alibi, you're safe. And I'd be happy to provide one, in exchange for a few concessions, of course. He smiled. A few votes, perhaps some discreet funding of this or that. I'm sure we can come to an agreement. Blue Blood looked visibly relieved. Of course, thank you. Oh, one more thing. Our When our little coalition gets the elements, we'll need to pick a leader. Some point to actually give them their orders and such. You'll support my taking on that role. Blue Blood frowned. But I already told Fisher that I... He trailed off as Greengrass shook his head. I'm afraid, said the Duke, that this is non-negotiable, Blue Blood. Fine. Just make sure that alibi holds. Greengrass left the antechamber, easily resuming his previous train of thought. Yes, he lost to Lulamoon this time, but that didn't mean he'd make the same mistake twice. He'd crush her at the gala. He had a splendid time doing it. He'd been somewhat tepid towards his gala plans, not because he thought he wouldn't work, but because he thought it'd be boring and a bit silly to go to such effort to crush a moron like Trixie Lulamoon. But if she was skilled, if she somehow inspired Octavia's brilliant performance, then going up against her could be quite entertaining. I'll battle her and win. Huh, won't that be something? He grinned. She might have masterminded this one, but she won't beat me twice. He walked on, whistling merrily. Trixie sighed in contentment. Well, she didn't like waking up early. The dawn in the spa day was turning out to be a decent idea. She slipped her carrot juice and waved a hoof at Carrot Top. So, how's business? Pretty good. The union's getting in some new digging equipment. Ought to make getting boulders off the ground a lot easier, so I might be able to expand a little bit. Awesome. How's your work going? Any big political moves? Trixie chuckled. Nope, none whatsoever. Nice to have a break, isn't it? Yeah, I'm tired of sending mobsters and con ponies and politicians packing. Carrot Top sighed as he slipped further into the whirlpool. Where's they get the message? Well, you won't need to worry for very long. The great and powerful Trixie is just biding her time until she can send a strong message that the elements of harmony are not just another jewel for their crowds. They'll all know not to mess with us. And you're sending this message when? Trixie paused, not realizing that Carrot Top would take her literally. Oh, a week or two. It'll take time to draft. So forget by then, I hope. Carrot Top smiled knowingly. Didn't say anything. Octavia yawned as she awoke. She was in her bed, tucked securely in the blankets, resting on a big, fluffy down pillow. She smiled, rolled over a bit, allowing the warm sunlight to play her face in. Sunlight! Octavia's eyes blinked open. It was past dawn. She was still in bed. She overslept. Octavia! Called out a voice. Just as Octavia began struggling out of the seats. Octavia looked over to see Lyra trying in. Lyra? What are you doing here? Making sure you don't do anything silly. You're taking today off. What? I never take days off! Lyra put a hoof out to push Octavia back down, and Octavia found, to her surprise, she was having trouble resisting the unicorn's force. I guess today's the first. Come on, Tavi. You taught me not to overexert myself. You're very clear on the importance of that. In fact, so today you will recover. Octavia paused. All right. She learned a few lessons, she supposed, about listening to her friends. I suppose I could give myself one day. I should hope so. Lyra grinned. Now, I'm going to get some things for breakfast. You're still going to be in this bed when I come back, right? Octavia smiled. You know how seriously I take my promises, Lyra. I'll be here. Lyra grinned and tried it off. Gathering food at the markets took about a half hour. Lyra smiled when she returned to Octavia's home. Last night's performance was still sounding in her head. She had never heard anything so glorious and... Were those voices coming from Octavia's house? Wondering what was going on, Lyra quickly hurried inside and went up the stairs. Yes, Octavia was definitely talking to some pony. I could teach you to try to play it, if you want. I cannot. It was a familiar voice, if very sad. I am no longer strong enough, but hearing it once, hearing it as I should have played it, was enough. Thank you, Octavia. You created something beautiful last night. Lyra poked her head to see the aged pink ponies you met last night, talking to Octavia. Hi? Octavia, still in bed, looked over. Lyra, may I present to you Piano Amor? Piano? This is Lyra Heartstrings, element of loyalty, and one of the finest up-and-coming musicians in the country. Lyra blinked. Wait, you were the last pony to try the piece, weren't you? Piano nodded. I did it to save my family, and my family was saved, even though my performance was inadequate. Since then, the one thing I really wanted was, as he hesitated, I wanted to hear it played correctly. If only to know how it could be done. I have never heard anything so wonderful. Octavia blushed. Piano rose. Thank you, Octavia. She smiled before leaving. Wow. Lyra blinked. She was really good, wasn't she? I have some old recordings of hers. Octavia nodded. Sublime ability. Lyra sat on Octavia's bed. So, what exactly happened on your way to the theater last night? Octavia shrugged. I was waylaid by some hired mercenaries, I think, but I was able to escape, thanks to you, actually. I knew you would help me if you were there, and that was enough. Waylaid? Lyra blinked. It isn't important, but I could hear you as if you were standing by me. Though my mind was clouded, they couldn't make me forget that you believed in me. And thus, I should believe in myself. I heard what you would have me do, and the music you would play, and I just followed your instructions. With that, and help from another friend, I was able to make it here. But I wasn't actually there. It didn't matter. I could hear you anyway. Lyra grinned. I don't know, Tavi. There's good hearing, then there's hallucinations. I'm not so sure it's good to mix them. Octavia laughed, and then they were both laughing. Concert was over. Luna hadn't shunned them. They were saved. But if you made a hallucination of me, then I'm totally making a hallucination of you. Lyra smirked, and she'll be even cooler than the real Octavia. I can already tell you what she'd say. Octavia leaned in close to Lyra's ear. Practice, practice, practice. Hey, no fair! Your hallucination gave you advice for escaping things. Why's mine so practical? Lyra giggled. Sure, let's go with that. Octavia sighed as she settled deeper into her bed. How long had it been since she had a day off? Years, probably. Do you have any upcoming concerts? Yeah, I'm auditioning for a Trondheim orchestra solo in a few days. Lyra blinked. It had utterly slipped her mind for days, and I should probably get to practicing for that. Lyra! But Octavia's tone wasn't angry, rather gently chastising. The words of a mentor wanting a student taking a goofy or silly action. Hey, I was busy, said Lyra, but don't worry, I'll ace it. She paused. Though, honestly, if you wanted to lend a hoof. Of course, at this point, there's nothing I wouldn't do for you. Lyra chuckled. She could think of, well, things that the prim and proper mare before her probably hadn't conceived of when she said that. Really? Great, because there's this new thing my mare friend and Bonbon and I wanted to try, and it requires a third mare. Oh, it's a cello wire. You're open-minded, right? Octavia looked puzzled. Open-minded? Is she making some sort of confectionery structure that requires a wireframe? Lyra grinned wickedly, and then said, Not exactly. What I meant was... Sorry. As he whispered a few words in Octavia's ears. Octavia blushed a deep scarlet. But, Lyra! That's not the proper use for center wire! Was all that she could manage. Somewhere Vinyl is taking notes. Lyra laughed. Well, then maybe it's time you were a little improper, whom? I was, referring to little things, like assistance with practicing or processes. Well, in that case, if you want to help me get ready for my Trondheim edition, I'd be thrilled. Though still blushing, Octavia still managed to recover enough to play. Of course, Lyra. Ding dong! The doorbell rang. The two looked at each other before Lyra rose. I'll get it. You stay here. Getting the mail took a few minutes, even though it was staggeringly large by the number of letters. Lyra smiled as he put them on Octavia's bed. Viceroy such and such wants to be your patron, Archduchess, Viceroy, blah 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 blah. Octavia smiled. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. Lyra paused, then smiled slyly. Oh, hey, this one's from Princess Luna's office. Something about being a court musician. Octavia sprang up. What? Let me see that! Lyra grinned and floated it over to her. Octavia grabbed it and quickly read it. Court musician. Lyra, do you realize what this means? I could play for Luna every night! I could play all of her events, the greatest audiences in the world! Lyra smiled. Congratulations, Octavia. You deserve it. Octavia shut her eyes for a long moment. But her smile, Lyra observed, could have lit up a moonless night. When she opened her eyes, they were full of joy and determination. I owe you more, Lyra. More than I can ever pay. Don't worry about it. Just promise me you won't be so hard on yourself anymore. Honesty's important, but it's just as bad to be too critical as to be soft on yourself. I know that now, Octavia nodded. Don't worry, Lyra. I'll maintain better perspective, I suppose. She folded up the letter and put it to one side. Now, I believe you have an audition in 2 days. Why don't you let me hear what you have so far? Lyra grinned, and soon the house was full of sweet Lyra music. Cue end credits! This was a pretty dang good episode. What I really enjoyed about it, well, first, was the symphony. When we were being told the story of how, with each failure, there was a sort of fairy tale-esque feeling of how every time we would hear about somebody trying to make an attempt, the characters would fail. There was something that they lacked, a purity of heart, a strength of character, or some challenge that the hero would overcome that these characters did not. They lacked something special within each of their forms that would have allowed them to surpass this challenge, to be able to overcome this great goal. And every failure, we start seeing more and more of what it takes to surpass this great task. Kind of like a really good fairy tale that you're listening to, and it fits so well. And then when Octavia surpasses it through her own skill, her own abilities, and her own heart, we see what it takes. The others lacked a connection. They lacked a bond with a friend. Octavia had Lyra, who was able to help her. They also lacked somebody who actually was able to see the fight, to be able to understand it. Octavia had this understanding. She also came to learn, have an understanding of what makes a person a person. You'll note that everybody else that tried this piece didn't understand Luna at all. They all had this one image in their head of Luna. They failed to realize that a person is a person. They're deep. They have many layers. A person is not really a person. It's just, you can't identify a person just by giving them one trait or 1% personality. That makes you flat. A well-developed character, it grows. And that's what Octavia has done. In a way, this makes me think of a certain movie. How many of you guys have seen American Pop? It's a classic film by Ralph Bakshi, where it's about this family who it goes through multiple generations of this one family who tries to make it big, trying to create this ultimate rocker. And it isn't until the third generation that the rocker actually finally achieves its destiny. It's got great animation, great music, and great story. That's what this makes me think. That we saw generation after generation after generation try and fail with these pieces until we get to the nearest one, last one, who manages to stand up and achieve her destiny and her goals in life. through hard work, determination, and skill. This was also great for Octavia's development as we see more of her. We see that the mare who becomes this cunning perfectionist suddenly goes to help, and her perfection and her desire to be perfect pushes her aside, wrecks her friendships, except for one, Lyra, as she sees what true friendship is, as she manages to conquer herself, her own doubts, her own weaknesses, and becomes a better pony. And if you want to see more of this Octavia present, tune in a couple of stories for now, and I will be doing the cadence verse. And this also shows what the power of an element is, what it really means to be an element. One of the things that I loved about Season 4, besides everything, was that it expanded on who the main six were and what their elements came to be. And so that being an element like they were meant more than just them being, oh, Applejack's really honest, Rarity's really generous. No. It also meant being an inspiration and showing those elements when it counts and demonstrating those elements so other people would understand and realize, hey, I may have had my own flaws, but that doesn't mean I can't be loyal, I can't be kind. I could be better. And thus help them understand that. This is why I love Pinkie Pride so much, besides Weird Al. That's what happens here. Lyra becomes an inspiration to Octavia. She shows off what real loyalty is, and this pushes Octavia to finally overcome her last bit of doubt and run through. And I gotta admit, I love Fleur as a secret agent, as I've said before, and I love Fancy Pants. So again, really, really great episode. Tomorrow, though, we're going to be looking at a character from another alternate verse. As a certain little filly who's really popular, Filiosi, who's really popular around the audience, makes her first appearance on this show. Take it away. We all know the story. That one day, after she adopted Nyx, Twilight Sparkle was saved from hanging. But what if that destiny was broken? What if Nyx had not saved Twilight, and death had come to her mother? How would their world change? Who would live and who would die? Let's find out, shall we? Look, I'm no good at this. I can't... Listen here, Trixie. We need all the help we can get, and you're the only one who can. My friends, they've all been separated. Nyx, what's happened to her? What y'all think? Without you, she's achieved her goals and destiny. The night shall last forever! No, I'm not a monster, and you're me. That means you're not a monster too. Coming next on this little channel, a Nyx story. Point of no return. Join us, won't you?